My name is Erik Kaiel. I'm originally from America, but I've lived in Holland for 8 years and I work a lot in the dance sector in Holland now.
Okay. Can you tell me what you did today?
Today we went and met with a group from an elementary school, and they had cubes and they were talking about different aspects of themselves, like who they were, how they were composed as an individual, and we began to ask them a couple questions about that to begin to get inspiration for how to make work for audiences of this age. And then we came back, had lunch, and then I've been working in a small group on the ideas for the piece that we'll be making for the next week, or the project we'll be working on.
And what did you discover today? Did you learn anything, or?
Yeah, it is a little bit that you need to get the students away from the controlling and organizing influence of the teacher to really get at some interesting answers, that it stays kind of organized if it stays completely official, and we're kind of interested as artists in getting off the track and how can we get to the
Did it happen, or did it
it began to happen and then we ran out of time, but at least you see that problem now and you can prepare for it for Monday when they come into our space and we interact with them then to find ways to address that.
Is that what you are working at right now, or?
It's a little bit that and a little bit the whole frame for the project we'll work on for this week. For us, we had a big agreement for all three of us that in sort of active viewing or sort of partial participation on the part of the children was something very interesting to us. So we wanted to see how we could work with that in a way that invited their interaction but didn't sort of demand it, that they had to do something in the show.
Okay. And how did you get involved in this program? Are you invited, or? Yeah,
I was invited to be a part of the program, and I think it's because I have a longer working relationship with Het Lab. I've done projects in Leidse Rijn and also something in Fort Raugehoek for the Vrede van Utrecht a couple of years ago, which were larger scale projects. But the work that I've been doing, I've been very busy for a long time with accessibility, so that the person who walks into a dance performance for the first time gets something out of the performance, and somebody who's been coming for 20 years also gets something out of the performance. I feel sometimes it's either too focused on one or the other, and there is a way to balance both, but you need to consider that in the making process. That's not only about splashing your ego across the stage, but thinking about how it will be received and how, especially a newcomer, can get something out of the work aside from a sort of closed society where people are speaking Latin to each other.
Do you think then of children, or is it public in the audience?
For me, it's public in the big sense, but the thing is, when you're busy with the issue of accessibility, that also means you need to have a sort of inherent respect for the public or the individual watcher and say, I'm interested in communicating something to you. And that it requires you to observe the work, but it doesn't require you to prepare before you come to the performance. That's my job, to find a way to create the performance architecture so that you can step into the work and get something out of it, and hopefully be curious or hungry to come back again. And this has been quite interesting. I was also asked recently by the dancers, Wiesmerks and the dancers, to make a piece for youth there, and yeah, it fits for me, it feels right, but at the same time, I wouldn't say I'm making work for youth. I'm making the same work I've been making for 20 years. It's just inside of this context, and it works well in this context, but I don't think it's limited to this context. I think, but very often revolutions start in the corner, not at center stage, but somewhere else, and then they grow out into something larger.
Okay. And what do you hope that to achieve during this program?
Well,
or to learn?
Yeah, I think a big part of it is just to sketch, to be open to the working processes of other people who are sort of in similar career points, that also have made a lot of work and have considered making work for young people. And working together next to each other. I'm also, literally, we finish on a Sunday, and Monday morning I go to Dusseldorf and I start making a piece for youth there for the sort of 10 to 14-year-old age group. So it's just kind of a sketchbook for me to work in this mode before I go start working on an evening length piece, where a lot of times, even from the beginning, there's a pressure to have a clear, you know, like for it to line your ducks up in a row. And in this way you can really be messy, finger paint, try things out, and just get your creative juices flowing before you push in one direction.
Mm-hmm. And how about the team you're working in? Is it?
Yeah, it's quite nice actually.
Yeah.
That my partners are from Sweden and from Belgium, and yeah, we all come at it from a different angle, but we can kind of communicate, and I think there is a lot of agreement about wanting to provide performance as a sort of opening in sort of fixed form life, that everything doesn't fit into boxes or categories, but that the performance is sort of an open-ended question to a child too, and that after the performance is done, they should never be asked, did you like it? Because this is a yes or no question, and it really shuts down a conversation, as opposed to, what did you see in it? What was it about for you? These sort of generative questions that begin a conversation or a discussion between individuals who sat right next to each other but maybe saw completely different things, because that's one of the powers of performance, and I think also it's catalyzing factor in sort of continuing conversation between real people.
Okay. And you're staying in a hotel also? In Utrecht?
No. I go back and forth with the train.
Yeah. I cannot tell about that.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you consider yourself a networker?
No, I'm actually quite. I mean, I'm not socially maladept, but I just don't have that impulse from inside to feel like networking with other people. I would rather just talk about the things that are important to me. If there's a click with people, have a conversation, but not really go around a crowded room and try to shake everyone's hand. I mean, I think it's why I'm an artist instead of a politician, that I kind of, I want to work on my thing, and I want my work to speak for itself. And maybe that's kind of a naive utopian position at this point in history, but so far it's going okay, so I'm sticking with it.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you
very much.